that one just because you're closer.
Okay.
If he wants to call you as a witness, we can deal with that at the time.
Okay.
And so, Ms. Ringner, am I saying your name correctly, first of all?
Yes.
Okay. And then, Mr. Jackson, could you raise your right hand? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. And how is it you need an order against Ms. Ringner?
So just give you background history, what's going on. I met her, I think, March, April, 2 years ago. At that time, me and Dallas was broken up and I met her. Subsequently, we began our relationship again. And I tried to break my relationship off with Miss Ringner. I told her I didn't want to talk to her anymore. Blocked her.
Say it again, please. A little bit louder. I missed that.
I told her I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I blocked her from calling my phone. I blocked her on social media. But one night she showed up at my house. She parked around the corner, crept through my backyard. I was in my home reading, and she tapped on the door. And I was, surprised that she was there. And she started telling me that she was pregnant, asked me if she can come in. And I said no, because she's making commotion on my backyard. But I'm a local realtor, so I don't want the noise, the confrontation. And I let her in. She spent the night. The next morning, she asked, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Hey, you need to go your way. I'm going to go mine." And at that time, she said no. I said, "What do you mean no?" She said, "I'm not leaving." And I said, "Well, hey, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I got to go to work. You got to go." And she's like, "No, I'm not leaving." So I tried to pull her out. She was hitting me and fighting me, wouldn't let me escort her out of my house. I also tried to pick her up and take her out. She's kicking, punching me, wouldn't leave my house. She called the police and said, "This man is putting his hands on me." I called the police as well. When they came, I told them my story. She told them theirs. I got arrested. Subsequently, the charges were dismissed. But also during that time, she came to my hearing the next day. Unbeknownst to me, she took pictures of me getting put in a police car. She took pictures of me in custody that day. She came and picked me up at the jail, and we kind of touched bases, but eventually we continued to see one another. Again, I tried to break the relationship off. Sometime in October, she showed up at my work. And because she couldn't text me or call me, she was emailing me that she's in my parking lot. And if I didn't come down, she was going to come up. Well, she stayed true to her word. She came up and started talking to me. I left my office and went outside because obviously I'm in a real estate office. I don't want to discuss my personal business up there. I went and I just decided to leave because it was just causing too much attention. She put herself in between my door and the car, so I couldn't close the door. Eventually, I left, and I was working on the project, Your Honor. Sometimes I buy houses and flip them. I left the office and went to that project. I had no idea where she was at, but while I was in the house, just checking on the contractor's work, I heard some noise. She showed up there. I asked her to leave. She wouldn't leave. I was blocked in. And because of the previous situation that happened, I went across the street and told the neighbor, hey, I also recorded it. I told the neighbor, like, hey, there's someone here, and I just want you to be a witness to what's going on because it didn't work out the last time, right? And so couple months after that, we're hanging out again. Shannon had been drinking. I had not. We were driving back from her house, from South Tacoma way back to her house. And I was asking her about a conversation she was having with a gentleman inside one of the places we was at. And she just went berserk, started attacking me while I was driving, ripped out my contact out of my eye, scratched my face up. We almost crashed 3 different times. That night, I recorded her screaming and yelling. And then most recently, so there was a death in my family in Tennessee at the latter part of last month. And so prior to that, there have been confrontations. I know she takes anxiety medication. She also said she was taking weight loss medication. I have emails to support this that said it makes her irritable, mood swings or whatever, but because of the, her attacking me, all these accusations, I just told her like, hey, I don't want to, this is done and over with. I'm going to spend time with my family. My family's mourning right now. And I left. Between the 3rd and the 16th, I have not had any contact with her, but she has literally texted me 177 times. She can't call my phone, and she can't get on my social media, but she's called me through WhatsApp 150 times. She sent me 20 emails, and inside these emails, she's threatening me. She's telling her kid's father, who's part of a motorcycle gang, what's going on, and she's having meetings with him. She's been to my house twice. She's reached out to my girlfriend multiple times. She's reached out to my girlfriend's kids. She's reached out to my friends. She's threatened to, call my mentors in the real estate world to supposedly take me down. She's posted things on Facebook of the arrest that I told you about, even though there's no conviction and the charges was dismissed. She posted that incident of me being arrested on TikTok and wrote this whole narrative that was just totally false. So I'm here because this needs to stop. I have not contacted her, and what she's doing right now, I feel very uncomfortable with what's going on. I mean, I know she takes anxiety medication. She blames it on her weight loss medication, but she's being completely irrational. And to top all this off, she has a weapon, and I feel totally vulnerable and unsafe.
Let me hear from her. And Ms. Ringner, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. What's your response to what I heard from Mr. Jackson?
So Mr. Jackson, yes, we met back in 2023. I didn't know about Dallas. I didn't know about he was dating another woman long-term also. I didn't know about these women until a year and a half into our relationship. And that's when things started spiraling, is when the lady, Bridget, messaged me. And Ronnie happened to be sitting in my office. So to back it up, Ronnie is the one that comes to me. So he can sit here and say all of these things that he wants to. I leave Ronnie alone. Ronnie comes to my home. Ronnie comes to my office. Ronnie comes to where I'm at establishments with my friends. So it's quite opposite of what he's saying. So when he put his hands on me back in September, when he went to jail, yes, I went to his house, but he comes to my place all the time. So he can't say, well, you can't come to my house, but I'm only allowed to come to your house. We're in a relationship. So yeah, I was there. Yes, I was pregnant by Ronnie. He can sit here and spin the narrative all he wants to. I showed him the proof of all of that stuff. So from my chart, we talked, we got into an argument the next day. Typical normal stuff with Ronnie, deflecting, doesn't want to have accountability for having multiple relationships with women and all of these things. And so he got frustrated and he grabbed me by my ankles, dragging me around. His neighbor in the back saw everything. She was up there with her phone. He motioned like he was going to kick me in my face. He just ragdogged me everywhere. And I said, if you don't stop, I'm going to call the cops. He's like, call him. I got money. I'll bail myself out. So I called him. They came, they arrested him for the video that he showed. The officer came in and said, we're arresting him for the video that he showed because we believe he was the aggressor. So if I was this bad person, I didn't want to leave him alone, then why did I ended up in the ER from him hurting my neck from handling me. So if I was the aggressor and he didn't want nothing to do with me, then why was he calling me from jail, apologizing, taking accountability for stringing me on, for lying to me, for doing all these things? Why did I pick him up from jail, right? That night I took him home. We went and had dinner after he got out of jail. I dropped him back off at home. I came home. I refused to answer his calls. He showed up at my place. So Ronnie is quite the opposite, because he has this toxic relationship with every woman that he's with. So if I'm this person, then why does he keep showing up? I don't beg him to be with me. I move on with my life. He shows up. So, and for the court case that happened back in September where it got dismissed, I wrote the prosecutor and asked him to please not go forward with the case. I was working with a victim advocate through that. So, and then to the incident that happened when we were at an establishment and we got in my car, that month prior, he had already put his hands on me. He was threatening to slap the shit out of me. He listen, Ronnie will come off as he's, this secure man. He's not. He's very jealous. And so we started tussling in my car. I also have voicemails because he's infatuated with phones and things like that. And so he was calling my phone, and I have that voicemail, and I could have submitted that, and I still can, of him that night, October 5th. So the things that he's saying is quite opposite. We talked to each other mutually through WhatsApp. I submitted a video where he was calling me from my home through Alexa. And now all of this makes sense to me because he was telling me that his girlfriend, who is there now, was his ex, and he started trial on the 22nd of this month for assaulting her and taking her cell phone and her daughter. So he's telling me that I just need you to stay with me. I need you to be with me. I just need to get through this court case. I don't want to be with her. I should have never messed with the girl in Bremerton where my life was, and all of these things, right? So what Ronnie's doing is playing both sides here. And so he can't have it both ways. So back in April, I was fed up because I just felt like things were shifting and he was lying to me. And I said, listen, if you choose to go be with her, go be with her. Leave me alone. Right? He's the one that keeps coming back. So it's really disheartening for him to sit up here and say these things because this is the opposite. He's like, no. I said, well, maybe we can reconcile after your court case. This is really hard for me to handle, knowing that you have to be a part of her life when you want me to be a part of yours. I said, let's just pause this. He's like, no, because I know I'll lose you, this and that and this and that. So back on April 12th, something came up and we were arguing about something, and I threatened to call her and say, I'm just going to tell her that I'm in the picture and all of these things. And he became so irate with me that he physically grabbed me. I started recording, which I have video of that. And I said, I think I submitted it to your court, but I also submitted it to Superior Court because we have a court case on Friday. So all of these things, I started documenting all of this stuff with him because I knew that Ronnie does not know how to tell the truth. Okay,
can you stop? Did you say you have a court case in Superior Court also?
So it's a restraining order, and Lacey PD has been trying to
court. You have a court case in Superior Court.
So not a court case. We have a no contact order, right? So right. A restraining order.
Can you let me answer my question, ma'am?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, it's cutting out.
Are you asking for an order against him?
No, I got one out of Pierce County in Superior Court. Lacey PD against Mr. Jackson, yes. So Lacey PD, the judge ordered Lacey PD to serve the restraining order. Lacey PD has been unable to contact Ronnie. He refuses to call them back. So I'm asking the court today why he's there, if he can please be served, because our court date for that is this Friday, the 30th.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I talked to the officer and I told them that I would be here today at court. I have the voicemail. I talked to her. I told her I would be here today at court. And I told her also that Ms. Ringner was retaliating because I filed for a protection order. Yes, I did talk to them.
Okay.
The judge, and the other thing is I also filed charges on Ronnie for the assault that happened April 12th and April 20th out of Lakewood. I live out of Lakewood, so it goes to the Lakewood courts. So that's in the process with the prosecutors. And actually the officer that took the original report met with me again last week for an hour and got additional information from me and more evidence. So at some point, he's going to face charges for those two assaults here out of Lakewood. As far as retaliating against him with the restraining order, I let Ronnie know that I was down at at Pierce County Courts putting a restraining order on him. He then went and put one on me. So I don't force Ronnie to be with me. I don't do any of these things. He plays between the two women, the three women, the four women, however many women he has. and he plays victim to this. I don't own a firearm, and even if I did, I would never brandish it or be malicious about it. The only person that has used a weapon against someone is Mr. Jackson, who shot someone and was charged with first-degree murder, found guilty, spent 23 years in prison, and he's only been out 5 years, and he's already put his hands on 4 women since he's been out. He has zero accountability for what he causes and creates. So I don't go beg Ronnie to be with me. He shows up at my home, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, shows up at my office, all of these things. So it's really disheartening to see here, but I knew that Ronnie was going to come in and spin a narrative to fit him. And that's okay, because whichever way you decide today, Your Honor, I will abide by that. It doesn't affect me if this is on me. It's just another way of him trying to control me if we run into each other or something like that, because Ronnie is super vindictive. And he's already told me that if I crossed him and I put what he's built since he's been out with his real estate at jeopardy, that I would see that dark side of him. His girlfriend, who's sitting in court with him today, I had a conversation with her the day that, I don't know, probably almost 2 weeks ago, maybe. And I told her that I was filing charges, and she said, Ronnie deserves to sit in jail. And maybe that will give him a chance to think about what he's doing. But she also said to me, be careful, I'm glad it's you and not me, because he knows people. So Ronnie is very calculated. So the real estate and public image that Ronnie, the facade is not who Ronnie is in the background. Ronnie, I believe, is a very undiagnosed narcissistic, but he's also very calculated, to the point where he had an issue with one of his general contractors recently within the last 6 or 7 months. And Ronnie, dressed in all black, found his address because he's a real estate agent, found his address, dressed all in black, and went to his house and was standing in his yard. And he laughed about it. And he was sharing that with one of his real estate buddies like it was cool. But that's just the mindset of him. So if he feels threatened that he's about to be exposed or any of those things, this is what he does. He runs this narrative. I've never begged Ronnie to be a part of my life. He continues to come back. And I'm glad that it's unfortunate that it came to this, but I'm glad at the end of the day that it did, because this nightmare for me is over. I just have to worry about my safety going forward in this court cases and this no contact order on him. I don't have to worry about dealing with any of his women anymore. I don't have to worry about dealing with his manipulation, his gaslighting, any of these things that he does. I'm so thankful that I do not have to be a part of that nightmare anymore. So for Ronnie to sit up here and say all of these things, Ronnie blows up my phone, but more or less Ronnie will show up to wherever I'm at. So he's also threatened to send an intimate video of him and I to my minor child because I wasn't answering his phone, in which I submitted all of that to the court, the text messages and things like that. I also witnessed him punch his girlfriend who's sitting in the court with him today. He's in cases with her in Kitsap County right now, and her daughter. So for him to sit here and try to spin a narrative about I'm this awful person and things like that, that's who Ronnie is. At the end of the day, I know the truth. He knows the truth. He's spinning a narrative to try to save his image. But the image is he's very twisted. He's very cruel. And I'm just glad that I do not have to be a part of this toxicity and all of these things that he has going on in his life. Ronnie's never going to change who he is. His girlfriend that he's with now is going to have to deal with other women. And I feel sorry for those other women that cross paths with him, because they have no idea what is going to happen in their life and what he is going to do. So again, Your Honor, whatever you decide is not going to affect me, because I have no intentions of ever having anything to do with him. He's an abuser, mentally, physically, emotionally, and he sees nothing wrong with it. And he gaslights you to justify, I've been in prison for 23 years. This is why I act this way, or I don't take accountability. He's a 50-year-old man, but he takes zero accountability. And so the public image and the private Ronnie are completely, completely different. Is there toxicity in our relationship? Yeah. But you know where the toxicity came from? All of the lies, the cheating, and everything that he's done and created in this relationship. So I don't really have nothing else to add to that. I just want to make sure that he is getting served while he's there, because we do have court on Friday morning in Superior Court for this, for my restraining order. So I'm just asking the courts to please make sure that he is served with his restraining order while he's there today, since Lacey PD was having difficulty getting a hold of him since the 17th.
Okay, so there's a couple things. I'm going to kind of work backwards there. You know, I'm not really, I can tell him when the court date is, but I can't serve him because it wouldn't be appropriate for me to do that. And combined with the fact that I don't have, I don't have the documents to serve him with. I will tell him that there is a court date. Were you aware of that court date?
Yes.
Okay, and what day, what time is it?
I have no idea.
Okay, what day is it?
I believe it's the 30th.
Okay, so ma'am, just answer the one question. What day and time is your court hearing?
The 30th at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, so you need to be in Pierce County Superior Court at 8:30 on May 30th. All right.
Okay.
And so I've listened to the testimony, reviewed the file based on, I've heard Mr. Jackson testify. I've heard Ms. Ringner testify. You know, she said the one word that kind of came up is that she had mentioned a couple times, which I tend to agree with, is toxic. And it seems to me like this seems to go both ways. This might be one of those instances where no contact orders are appropriate both ways, where both parties need to stay away from each other. And so, but the only one in front of me right now is Mr. Jackson's petition against Ms. Ringner. I am going to grant the order. It's going to be in place for 1 year. And so, ma'am, you're just not to contact him. And so, which kind of sounds like what you want. And
Absolutely.
Jackson, again, I'm not going to think too much of it. I have no, you know, I'm not following you folks around. I don't know what's happening. I hear one story from here. I hear another from her. But even though you're not part of this order, it wouldn't be a very good look for you to go track her down and make any contact for her if you start to use this offensively, which people do sometimes. You're going to be subject to a court hearing in Pierce County, and if an order is entered there, you'll be expected to comply with it. And like I say, I think it's clear to me that you folks just need to flat stay away from each other. But I'll grant the order here today. You can wait, you can get a copy of it. And then Ms. Ringner, you're free to go. And then, did she provide an email where we can email it?
No.
You have an email where we could send the copy of the order, and you can
Yes,
put it in. Or you can get it off the Thurston County District Court website.
Okay.
And if you want to get it off the district court website, you're free to go. We'll give you a
All right.
copy of the order. Now it'll be in place for 1 year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Then Ms. Meach, I'll have you come back up. So Ms. Meach, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
How is it you need an order against Ms. Cole?
So can I talk about what she wrote?
I want you, you're asking for an order. Tell me why you want
Okay,
one.
so I have never broken into her home. I have not harassed her. This harassment started last year, October 1st. She knew we were not friends no more. I stopped being friends with her due to the emotional and mental abuse she caused me while we were living together. And she's irresponsible. We had a phone plan together. She didn't pay her bill. I cut her phone off, told her I didn't want to be friends with her no more, that this just couldn't go on no more. October 1st, she texted me. I replied back. She wouldn't stop, so I just stopped texting her. I blocked the number. October 3rd, she texted me off of a different number. I didn't respond at all. I blocked the number. October 5th, she texts me again off of a different number. So then I proceed to block that number. So then I started receiving phone calls October 10th of 2024 from multiple different numbers from Jordan. 3 different numbers from her. And then one of the numbers was actually, she's a caregiver for the state. It was her client's mom's phone number because I had their number saved in my phone from when I would go over there when we were friends. The harassment, calling and calling constantly from different numbers didn't stop until February 22nd. And that was due to me changing my phone number. I feel like if I wouldn't have changed my phone number, the phone calls would have continued to happen from multiple different numbers. On April 3rd, I was coming back from Port Angeles. I went to Port Angeles to visit my sister and my niece for spring break. I was at the bus station. I had about a 25-minute wait until the bus to Olympia.
This was in Shelton,
Yeah, this was in Shelton at the transit center.
where she lives.
Yeah, where she lives. I was waiting for the bus to go back home. And all of a sudden, I see her rolling past me and she starts screaming things out her window. She called me the B word. She said, you're a dirty B. Stop talking to my ex-boyfriend, you B. And I yelled back and I said, leave me alone. You're the one that's dirty. I don't want to talk to you. So then she had turned up the road. So mind you, when she's yelling this stuff at me, her client's in the van with her. So she leaves for roughly 2 minutes. I see her come back. So when she comes back, she's coming from the opposite direction of the Safeway parking lot. And that's with one of the videos that I submitted. Rolling down, she turns into the parking lot, and you can see on the other side of her fence that she stops her van right there. And I'm at the bus station and she can clearly see me. And then she starts driving and she leaves. Well, she comes back after she leaves for a third time and she parks in the Safeway parking lot and just sits there. Knowing that I'm at the transit station, knowing that I don't drive and that I catch buses to go where I need to go, she stood there. I have proof. There's a picture of me standing at the Shelton bus station that she took while she was sitting in the parking lot. And in the video that I sent you of her just sitting in the parking lot, you know, being parked, you can see in the video that she pulls her phone out of the window and takes a picture of me. I'm like, why? So that's why I recorded, because I was like, I felt harassed.
And when was this? This is in February?
This was April 3rd. And then April 8th, I didn't actually know that I'd received this Facebook message until a week later, but on April 8th, someone by the name Jasmine Turner messaged me on Facebook. Well, the very first picture that she sent me was a picture of her bathroom. That's how I know it's her. It's not this Jasmine girl. She made a fake Facebook profile to hit me up and harass me. Also, how I know she's been harassing me is one of the pictures in the TikTok video she was posting about me, saying horrible things about me, humiliating things that weren't even true, was actually my Facebook profile picture. I changed it to that on February 1st. And she made that post February 2nd. So I feel like in a sense, she's also stalking me. I am going through a lot of emotional distress. She knows that I have mental health disabilities. She's very aware that I'm in a vulnerable state in my life because I lost my dad not like a couple years ago, but it's still fresh to me. And I don't have my mom. She decided to text her ex-boyfriend that she's talking about in here. He actually sent me screenshots of her sending messages to random men. And these photos have my 7-year-old son and my 8-year-old niece in it. She don't know these random guys that she's sending their pictures to. So she's endangering my child's safety and my niece's safety at this point. The reason why I want to put this protection order on her is because I want the harassment to stop. I want her to stop going on social media and cyberbullying me. My son is a vulnerable kid. He has disabilities. And he's scared. Every night before he goes to bed, he asks me, Mom, is the door locked? Are we safe? That makes me feel horrible that this person is affecting my child's well-being and his mental state. My child was with me when she was screaming at me outside her window door, April 3rd, when that incident happened.
The Shelton bus?
Yeah, my son was there with me. And he was scared when we got on the bus. He's like, Mom, we're not going to see Jordan anymore, are we? She scares me. I feel like she's going to hurt us. And I'm like, I will make sure that won't happen. I was like, I'm going to try to put a no contact order on her. But he's terrified to the point where I have to deal with that every night of him asking, Mom, did you make sure to lock the door? Are we safe? And on Sunday, I ordered some cameras. They're being delivered to my apartment. I'm setting cameras up. I got the okay by my landlord. Also, something recent did happen. Saturday, me and my son had left. We went to the park and then we went to dinner together. I come back and there's dents on my door that weren't there prior. So she is the only person that I know that has an issue with me. Like, I just moved to Olympia 8 months ago. I know her. She knows where I live. She helped me move my stuff there when we were okay. And then I have 3 other homegirls, but I don't have no issues with them. They have no reason to come to my apartment and put dents in my front door.
Okay, hang on a second. Ms. Cole, I need you to position your camera where I can see you. Thank you. I need it's important to me to know that you're on the Zoom call.
There was an incident February 2nd. She had called me from a 564 number, and then my son had come to me. He's like, "Here, mom, like you have a missed call." So I looked, I had a missed call from a 564 number on February 2nd. So February 9th is when my son came to me and he was like, "You have a missed call, mom." So I called that number back thinking, okay, maybe it's an important phone call. And they didn't answer. So then the 564 number called back and it was her. She was like, "What are you doing calling me?" I was like, "You're the one that called me on February 2nd. I was like, "Stop calling me, stop harassing me. There's no reason for this. I've left you alone. I have not said nothing about her on social media. I have not said nothing about her that is bullying or in a negative way. It's people coming to me and telling me what she's saying behind my back. And then I have, of course, proof to prove what she's saying about me are lies. And that's why she's upset, is because she's going to people telling them that I never did anything when I lived with her. I was lazy. I was the reason why her house was a mess. I broke her couch and broke her floor, which I'm sorry, but there's no possible way for me to do. But I sent them.
Let me hear from her, ma'am.
Okay.
So Ms. Cole, could you raise your right hand, please? He's sworn to affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'll hear from you. She says you're calling her all the time, and there was an incident down there, which I read about in the petition at the Shelton bus stop where you kind of got on her a little bit. And so go ahead. I'll hear from
Okay,
you.
so that incident, I actually have proof. My client has there's a, what is it called? The doctor's office right there.
Right.
So we went to the doctor's office for her and then we left down to her bank.
Out the window, she said.
I was not doing anything. My nephew was in the car with me. I wouldn't use profanity with my nephew in the car. The reason why I took a picture of her is because she was taking a picture of me and I was on the phone with my ex-boyfriend and he said, "Well, she's been telling me that she was going to put her hands on you." So I had evidence of, just in case she tried to run up on me, because she does have a violent history. I've seen her fight people before, but that's a different story, different time. But that day where she seen me, I had running around to do. It was around the first of the month, and my client and I had bills to pay. And I'm sorry, I live in Shelton, so all my stuff is in Shelton. So I have to go from the doctor's office to the bank, to the other bank, to the other bank, and then we went to get Domino's, and then we wanted something to drink, and then we did a whole bunch that day. So it wasn't me harassing her. It was me trying to figure out what we were doing at the time. So in the time crunch, because I had to bring my nephew back to Bremerton where he lives. I was not stalking her. I wasn't harassing her. I have random people telling me she's giving my address out. I want one on her as much as she wants one on me. The whole time that she said that my client's mom was contacting her, that wasn't me. She's an elderly lady. I want nothing to do with Rhonda or her child. It's causing PTSD in my life and my friend's life, and she's getting into my relationship, causing trauma between me and him. I just want it to be over with. It's causing too much. This is like high school drama that doesn't need to be. She just needs to leave me alone. I need to leave her alone. And then she said something about Saturday. I was out in Aberdeen visiting my fiance on Saturday. I have witnesses and proof of that. I just want to be left alone as much as she wants to be left alone. She keeps my friends keep contacting me, telling me she talked about my house, showing pictures of my house when I used to live a mess before I got my house. My house is still in the process of getting remodeled. just a whole bunch, like, I don't know. It's just all nonsense, drama. She needs to leave me alone. I need to leave her alone. I left her alone. She just needs to leave me alone. She needs to stop contacting my ex, which is my friend. Um, I don't know. I'm just over all this. It's anxiety. I'm a vulnerable adult. I have a learning disability, so some of the stuff she's saying I can't comprehend very well. Um, and I haven't been the same ever since I lost my brother. So
Okay. Well, I agree with you on a couple of things. First of all, you talked about, referred to this as kind of like high school drama, which is kind of true. You also said, I need to leave her alone. She needs to leave me alone. I agree with that also. The only thing in front of me here right now is her request for an order against you based on the testimony combined with what's filing. At this time, I'm going to grant that order. You're just not to contact her in any way
and
for
I
the next.
do have a question on that too, because I have
Can you let me,
sorry.
could you, please?
Yep.
And again, that's based on the pattern established by Ms. Meach. And, if you feel like you assemble evidence that requires an order against her from doing things that you don't approve of her contacting you, you're free to do that. Sounds like you tried to do that once. It didn't happen, but if additional things develop that you think it's appropriate to get an order against her, you are certainly free to do that. But based
Yeah.
out, this is just going to make I'm drawing a bright line here to make your life easier. She's just not a part of your life. There's not something, you don't post anything on Facebook about her or any other social media site. There's no reason for you to talk to mutual acquaintances. Apparently you were friends at one time, but clearly no longer now. But you just need to move on. She's just not a part of your life in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing to comment on.
Okay. Yeah. I'll ask somebody else. But all right. Thank you.
Welcome. You can get a copy of that off the district court website. Matt will give you a copy of that right now.
And how long is this order?
1 year.
All right. Thank you.
And then Ms. Lowe could come on up. And then Ms. Ehart and Ms. Alderson Potter can come on the Zoom call, please. So these are two separate orders. And then Ms. Ehart, am I saying her name correctly, first of all?
Yes.
And then Ms. Potter, are you folks roommates or do you live in separate apartments?
Separate apartments.
Okay. And then, but you both live upstairs from Ms. Lowe, is that correct? And again, just let me let one person actually started with Ms. Ehart. So then Ms. Ehart, is that correct?
Correct.
So that geography there. And then so Ms. What's going to happen is I'm going to swear in Ms. Lowe. I'm going to ask her about, and again, these are going to need to be individualized. And then I'm going to have some questions, I think, and then we're going to go from there. So Ms. Lowe, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can put your hand down.
I was actually wondering if we were able to reset this back.
You need to speak louder, ma'am.
I was wondering if we were able to reset this back one more time. If this is the first time that it's been reset. I just received paperwork and police reports from Lacey PD, and I just haven't been able, I got it on Friday. I haven't been able to submit it. And I also have statements from my landlord as well about them that I would like to add to it.
It's information that would have been helpful a couple of hours ago. Did Ms. Potter and Ms. Ehart, did you get it? Apparently there's some additional information she wants to submit, which I'm pretty sure you haven't seen. Again, Ms. Potter, what say you? And Ms. Ehart, what say you?
Yeah, we were not aware of any of this.
What's it look like?
I wasn't aware of this as well.
Was temporaries granted on these? All right. We'll reconvene in 2 weeks. And I'll be the judge, and then we'll go from there. And then if you file some things, you need to put them in the court file. You can see things on, you need to get on the court file. You need to get on the district court website and And so you can see anything that's filed there. Ma'am, if at all possible, don't bring your child to court.
I apologize.
They shouldn't be here through all this, particularly
agree.
when it's around an apartment where everyone's living. This just isn't
It's
an
a
appropriate,
single
I
parent.
recognize if you have no choice, that's why I said if at all possible. And you can zoom in, you're just like those folks did and other people did today, you're free to zoom in and, so anyway, that's what's gonna happen today. Give me just a minute. We're gonna reset these to June 9th at 9 a.m. I am, yeah, no, I'm still in that rotation. Yeah, through June. Nope, I am aware. Do we have emails for everybody where they can send, where this can go to? And ma'am, you need to get additional information in as soon as possible. That's it for today. We'll see everybody back here on the 9th. Mr. Shepherd, you can come on up and take a seat there. I'm just waiting for the clerk to get caught up and give an order. Looks like something was filed today that I haven't seen. I did see those, because I did see the Friday ones, yep.
I've been having a hard time, Your Honor, getting all my videos.
I saw the videos. I
Okay.
saw there was some body cams. I saw all those. I saw your declaration.
I sent in some videos of whenever they crossed the street towards my apartment, and I've submitted them 3 different times, once through email, and then you told me
Hang on
that
a
they
sec.
weren't coming through. I had to convert them to MP4, so I went and did that, submitted them that way, submitted them in person. I've been just having a hard time getting it, and for some reason they're not playing on the systems, the court's computers, I guess.
How many, so we didn't get all the videos? What do the videos show?
It shows, I believe her name is Jamie Farr, her husband or significant other, I'm not sure what he is in the family matter, and their daughter, which I believe is the daughter that they're saying that I'm harassing. They were all just right across the street from the backside of my apartment where my patio is, and then they came across the street, across the busy highway, yelling at me. She was holding the phone through the fence. I didn't know what it was at first, but she just stuck something through the fence and just started yelling at me, asking me questions. And then that's when I pulled out my phone and started recording. And then the gentleman came across, yelling at me, threatening me. Jamie Farr, she ended up having to pull him back across the street. In the video, you can tell.
Was that before the police showed up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then they went back across the street and they just kept yelling obscenities at me.
I think obscenities were kind of going both ways, weren't they?
I'd say, yeah, we were both like,
Were you the one using the term MFer?
I'm sure I did say that word, Your Honor. I wouldn't doubt that I did. I don't remember for sure, but
I'm reasonably confident the video that I heard was audio. You were inviting them over and referred to them several times as, again, for lack of, I'm not going to say that term on the record, but you were calling them MFers is what you did.
okay, I was using that term, and
I mean, you can't shine that up.
no, I'm
There's-
not
there's
trying
no
to, Your Honor. I
appropriate
was
way
just
to
saying
use
like
that
they came across the street from their apartment complex and were yelling obscenities at me and recording me as I'm sitting on my property. And then all I did was say, like, obviously I got angry that they're approaching me in a violent, threatening manner. So my reaction is to defend myself, verbally.
All right. So is there stuff that hasn't been seen yet? Who's Brian Short? Go ahead, Ms. Farr.
Brian Short is the person that was in the police video with the yellow hair on my side that was willing to wait and talk to the police. I do not know them, but they are a neighbor in my building. But they came out to check on our safety.
Okay. He was a person in the body cam who I didn't get say much. All right, so I guess here's where we're at here. There are apparently some videos attempted have been submitted, which I haven't seen. And if I haven't seen them this far, I'm pretty confident you haven't either. And so, and I don't know that we're going to be able to see them. Is there?
They're two short video. One is 5 seconds long and the other one is like 1minute and 12 seconds.
Go ahead, Ms. Farr.
I actually have seen them, so I'm not sure why you guys haven't been able to, but I did see them through the portal. One of the videos is me shoving my boyfriend across the street. The only reason why he was over there is because I walked by the fence to take a picture, which I submitted that picture to the courts, and then I asked him to leave my...
Okay, so no, go ahead and leave her. She can't hear me. She's not, I don't want to come instead of finish. Go ahead and, so ma'am, you need to unmute.
It muted me. I don't know why it did that. I didn't mute it.
There's some things apparently that are not in the portal that he had tried to submit. Everything that's in the portal I have seen. That's my point. There's some other things that haven't been seen. So, hang on just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to be able to see those?
I'm sure if it's just this, this is a new one. I haven't been able to try them. I can try them at the main office after all this. If they
Thanks. How have things been going out there, Ms. Farr, since this ordinance? We were here once before, I remember. And then,
so since we were there, there's been nothing, thank goodness. But I did submit 2 bus videos from 2 different incidences, and I did submit stuff from that same day, the same day that his videos were also submitted from.
when did you submit those?
Me?
Yes.
Sorry. So I submitted video from my phone, and I submitted a picture from my phone and the police report the first day, along with the bus videos from 2 different incidences. I don't remember exactly which day that was, but I submitted it in person at the clerk's office. And then I submitted all the police videos and 1 statement for me and a witness statement on Friday. And then I just submitted the witness statement this morning, and I didn't know that I was supposed to have the all the stuff that I submitted together. So I submitted that because I didn't get that paper until Friday night. That said I needed like a
Right.
I don't know what it's called.
So what's going to happen here today is it's going to continue the status quo here until we get this stuff uploaded. And then that'll be it. You know, things need to be submitted by the Wednesday before the hearing next time and no more. Then, and the order will remain in place as it is now there, Ms. Farr. Go ahead.
So is there anything that you haven't gotten that I've told you that I've submitted?
Well, I mean, I've seen everything that's been submitted up before today. I've seen, and and so I saw the body cam. There were some videos that were also submitted, and I think that I have.
All the
But
bus ones too?
So were filed this morning. I'm seeing those for the first time right now.
Did you see all the bus videos too?
The bus video?
I have
Did not see a bus video.
Okay, so I have bus footage from intercity transit. So they did have a hard time loading it originally, but then they told me it went through. So I'll go back and try to make sure they have that again.
See that. So do you understand where we're at?
Yes, Your Honor. It sounds like she was describing the videos that I submitted, though. I'm not sure how
Well,
she
she-
can see them
again-
and no one else
Again,
can.
yeah, I've not seen them all. We're going to do this one more time, and then this will be it. This will be the last set over. We'll reset it to June 9th.
9 a.m., Your Honor?
Yep, just like now.
It'll be the same place.
No, it'll be back in courtroom number 3. We only do these on Tuesday. When there's a Monday holiday, we have them here. Normally they're in courtroom number 3. When they're on Monday, they'll be at courtroom number 3. Were you in person last time, or were you?
I was on Zoom.
Yeah, so you
I
can
never
be on Zoom
received
if you
any
wish.
information. I'm not sure if they don't have my email or not, but I never received any information on today's like time or place or anything.
Well, you're gonna get a copy of this order right now that tells you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Neither did I, Your Honor.
You'll get that email to you. We'll see you back here on the 9th.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can I say something or?
Well, hang on just a minute. Ms. Farr, go ahead. Ms. Farr, wait. And so, yes, you can, but we're not really going to get into the case here right now.
Okay, sure. I just want to say, like, I'm terribly sorry for any miscommunication and any kind of whatever is going on between us. Like, we don't even know each other and we've never talked to each other before. And it's a miscommunication where I simply ask.
Okay, then I don't think you should go any further.
Yes, Your
I think Ms. Farr heard you. And then we'll just reconvene and see where we're at.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you back here. And then Ms. Farr, a copy of that will get emailed to you. And then you can wait here, Mr. Shepherd. You'll get a copy of it right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And like I say, this will be it. And everything needs to be submitted by the Wednesday before, which would be June, I can tell you when that is. Is that 3rd? Give me just a moment. So we're gonna have this case on June 9th. Everything needs to be submitted by June 4th. Anything submitted after June 4th, again, won't be reviewed.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this will be the final thing. Mr. Shepherd, you can come on up. See you later.
Thank you.
This is number 25-144. And you're Mr. Vernham?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you are the Feudings. Am I saying your name right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the Feudings are the petitioners in this case, and Mr. Vernham, you're the respondent. And Mr. Vernham, can I confirm with you that you have received the petition that was filed by the Feudings along with the notice for the court date?
Yeah, I got it all in here.
Okay, very good. And are you ready to proceed with the hearing today?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, then I'm going to get started. All right, where did I leave off? All right, I was going to swear the parties in and let the Feudings start, and then I'll hear your response and Mr. Vernham, and then make a decision. So can I have all three of you raise your right hands, please? Do each of you swear the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sir. Yes.
Okay. All right, so Mr. and Mrs. Feuding, you are the petitioners in this case. I'll let you present your case first.
Okay. This all really started to come about when Mr. Vernham could not stop killing animals in our yard. My wife and I have witnessed him shooting animals in our yard on multiple occasions. We had to stop having contact with him. At that point, he decided we were his enemy and went to all our neighbors to slander us, saying I'm a racist, that I beat my wife. He proceeds to constantly, openly flip us off and grab his crotch. He lives right across the street from us. So when we come out in our yard, he comes out, he berates us with insults, calling my wife a whore, calling me a felon. This is on a daily basis. He is, I mean, this is just a tip of iceberg, actually. We've lived across the street from him for 20 years, and we've been trying to avoid any conflict with our neighbors and trying to keep peace in the neighborhood. And under the direction of the sheriffs and my attorney, I'm here today to get a restraining order. Mr. Vernham decided that he would come out at 5 a.m. in the morning in the dark to intimidate my wife 4 days in a row. At 5 in the morning, he stood on the corner of his property where my wife has to pull up to the stop sign, flipping her off 2 days in a row. I installed cameras to catch that. And then he went out there in the same spot and put up a sign that said whore. And immediately after she passed, he took the sign down. I told my other neighbor that we're all on a corner here at the stop sign about it. And she came out and she also witnessed him do that, put the sign out and then take it down right after she passed. He thinks his First Amendment rights allows him to invoke violence and provoke people. And I think the court knows that's not the case. And I would like them to grant this restraining order to protect myself and my wife, because we are in fear of our lives. Not only does he have weapons, but he has used them.
Right, and Ms. Feuding, would you like to say anything?
Yes,
Add anything?
he's intimidating my family. He yells and tells people that walk by that we're racist. I feel like I have to have my phone on record when I'm leaving to go to work every morning. He is continuously harassed. There's not much more than what my husband has said that I absolutely fully agree with. 100%.
And even with
He has a problem with authority. He disrespects authority. I just want to live in my home or in my yard with peace, be able to do my yard work without hearing him yell "whore" from across the street, talking to people that walk by, yelling "whore," calling us racist. And I want it to stop. That's all I have to say, Your Honor.
I'd like to add that after he was served a restraining order, he had no problem disrespecting the court and breaking the restraining order every day since. We have video footage. We didn't get a chance to submit it, but we do have it every day, berating us, saying whatever he wants.
All right, before I hear from Mr. Vernham, is there anything you feel like you left out or anything you need
I
to?
do want to add one more thing. The day that he shot at a cat that was in my driveway, it did damage my garage door, and my kitchen window is 2 to 3 feet from that garage door. So every time I do dishes, I feel like I have to keep an eye out to make sure that the shooting doesn't happen again and I get shot.
Okay, Mr. Vernham, I'm gonna turn it over to you to tell me your side of it before I make a
Your Honor, did you
decision.
see this? Okay, I got a sign I made in 14 and hung in 15. I've been hanging them since. I got a witness here that's done that. First of all, if I may approach the bench, I have witness statements here on things. I'd like the court to read these today, please.
Are these things that you filed in the court file yet?
I just got this Friday, Your Honor.
Okay.
One of these is where he threatened to pull a gun on an African-American in front of my house the other day. One of these is where an 86-year-old neighbor of mine stopped in front of his house. He called her a whore. This is where this whore thing started, Your Honor. And he come out and he chest butted me 3 times in front of this woman, and I was trying to protect her. I've been making Trump signs and I hate Democrats. That's what this is all about for me. This man come in, when he moved into our neighborhood the first week, it was a Friday at 6:30, I heard yelling in my garage. And I just got my son out of rehab because my daughter had just been butchered. 19 times she was stabbed. And he started drinking and he wanted to fight. This hand right here is broke because I slammed it into the wall, so I didn't have to fight my son. I can't do much with this hand. It's deformed. In October 13th, after my son had killed himself, 7 years after, 10 years, 8 months, 4 days, and 7.5 hours after his sister, this man came over to my house. I'd been in the hospital prior, and the doctors told me to quit taking the medication group death was giving me. It was killing my gut. So I started smoking pot. I hadn't smoked it since the 80s. And I was getting it from a friend of my son's that I've known. This guy sells pot. So he told me when we were kind of friends that I could buy it from him. One day he found out that I was buying pot from my friend Josh, and he come over, and that's why this arm's bad. He ripped this arm out of the socket. I went to get the phone. I went to call 911. He grabbed the phone out of my hand and crushed this and slammed the phone and threw me on the ground. He broke my false teeth. I had to glue this up here. I went to Sybil's house to use her phone. She wasn't there. When I came home, he was gone. 2 minutes later, his woman is on her knees begging me not to call the law on him. Begging me, please don't. Because he's a felon, Your Honor. I don't have a criminal record. I've never been in trouble. I'm 68 years old. I got a harassment order on me from a lie from some punk in my neighborhood that pulled the gun on me. Now, I told him after the incident where he ripped my arm out, I tried appeasing him. And then one day he come over and he wanted to know if he could use my backyard to park cars because he works on cars. So I let him. And then I find out that he's being audited by the Department of Revenue where I work. And he wanted me to talk to one of my revenue employee friends to see if we could get this thing dismissed. And I told him to get off my property. And I haven't spoke to him since 2020, January. And as he left my yard with his trailer, he ran my gate over and never even offered. Now, I did shoot a cat in the yard. It killed 3 of my birds. And I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. And I'll pay for any damages. And nothing was up. This was years ago. Now, I'm making signs and I'm going home. I dislike Democrats. I put them up for all politicians. And I can go home and make a sign that says your name on it, Judge, because you're a public figure. I do it. This is what I've been doing. I wish you would really read this where she put in here about him threatening an African-American a few weeks ago. I saw this. He threatened him with a gun and called him the N-word. My great-great-grandmother was African, and I'm proud of that. I have Lakota Sioux and Apache blood in me. And this guy is a racist. I know you won't read this?
You can bring them up and give them to the clerk.
You won't read it.
No, I'm going to take a look at it.
86-year-old woman, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Vernham.
Now, I've lived in my house 46 years. I'm going to be going on my 47th. I'm dying right now because of what happened to my children. And I don't really care if I die. I've lost my immune system shot. That's why my teeth fell out. In 2006, and he was part of this, 2 of my other neighbors got together and got a harassment order or something and lied about my daughter's dog, said it was killing other animals, and he was part of this. And they all split and they lied. They all lied. And I'm still living here. They're all gone. He's turning my neighbors against me. My neighbor Sybil, who he was talking about, I do carpentry work. That's what I do. I fix things. And this is what they bought me 2 years ago when I fixed kitchen cabinets for them that they couldn't find. And now this woman that gave me this shirt, he's turned against me. Her husband is one of the ones that lied and had my daughter's dog killed, murdered, as I say it. And you see, I had all my neighbors backing me then. I got nobody backing me now except Marie. Marie knows me. She's known me since 15. We're just friends. My other neighbor that he's talking about, that Sybil, I've been mowing her lawn for 15 plus years. And now I can't mow it. I've been putting my garbage in her garbage. I can't put my garbage in there anymore. So the other month and a half ago, I went to my friend Brian, who I've known for 60 years. And he said, yeah, put your garbage in there, no problem. Saturday, I went to get him to come to court here, and he was going to go with me. An hour and a half later, he told me, get the F off my property. I never want to see. This is a man I've known for 60 years. And now all of a sudden, he doesn't want me around. That doesn't make sense, Your Honor. This guy scares people. He threatens them. He's threatened me. He did this to my arm, Your Honor. I mean, I heard it as an L&I accident on November 3rd of 13, and it was almost healed up. I can't ride my bike. I can't do nothing because of this and this. I have 3 collapsed discs. I have what they call IBS. Do you know what that is, Your Honor?
I do.
And I have a bacterial infection in my intestine that has put me in the hospital many times. And there's no cure for it except death. And it's right now it's going crazy on me. My prostrate is double the size of what a normal prostrate is. And they're giving me medication for that too. But it's not working because of what this guy's doing. I have, like I did to Judge Buckley in 6, I'm using my First Amendment right to make signs. I do not use anybody's name. And as far as standing out in front of my yard, I go out at 4 or 5 in the morning to move my truck out of my driveway because my house has been hit 7 times because of this. My garage door bashed in, my truck bashed in, and all my signs taken. Marie can tell you that. So I protect my truck, but I go out in the morning because that's the best time to look at the dippers right in front of my house, right above my front door. And that's what my children and I used to do when they were little. And that's what brings me in touch with my children, if that makes any sense to you. But as far as harassing them, no, I don't talk to them. I haven't spoken. They sit in their kitchen window and do this. I can't whistle right now. And they make little cat calls. I clean my yard up. I do my flowers almost every day, weed. And they sit there and they make all these noises at me. And then when I go to Rachel and Dave's house, they stand there and they go, "Why are you still living here? Nobody loves you." And you know what that is a reference to, Your Honor? He's making fun of my dead children. But I didn't do nothing. I never said nothing. And I'm going on the First Amendment. That's what I'm doing in my front yard, is my First Amendment right to express myself without any violence at all. No violence. This guy's the violent one. This guy. He's yeah, I mean, look at his, I mean, when I had Fred pull his rap sheet in 04, I couldn't believe what he had been in trouble for. I mean, this guy's a psycho. He doesn't care about anybody else. He chased a kid one day that rode his bicycle through his yard. The kid fell off his bike, got road burns. 5 minutes later, this big burly man in army fatigues came up. And a bunch of these little kids, he used the N-word because his kids were white and black in front of this guy and pissed him off. And this guy picked up a rock the size of his hat and was going to throw it at Dan. And I spoke up and said, "I can't believe you're doing this." And I had to speak up for him because it was wrong what the GI was doing, going to throw the rock at him. This guy uses the N-word like it's his vocabulary. And he don't care about hurting anybody. It's ludicrous. Like I said, I've lived 46 years in my house. Both my kids are dead and you don't have, there's nothing, I haven't been violent towards anybody. In 1990, I was kicked out for molesting my kids because my wife got tied up with some jerk out of California. Somebody like him, a felon. And I won my kids. I fought and raised them by myself until my daughter was murdered, and then everything just fell apart. Everything. And I tried with my son to keep him alive. I tried and I tried, but he blew his brains out. And that's all I've got to say. You guys are probably going to, I'm going on the First Amendment, Your Honor. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vernham. Okay, well, Mr. Vernham, I want you
Would
to.
you like to speak for me? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I just want to know, I've known him all those years and we've never had any issues or anything, you know, he's always been courteous to me and, you know, nothing. And we're just friends. I live down the road from him with my daughter.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Vernham, there's not going to be any decision made that's based on your signs. There's nothing about that that affects the decision that I make regarding this. It's my scope of a decision here doesn't have anything to do with your politics or anything to do with the signs you make or how you.
That's what this is about. It appreciates the value of his house, he tells everybody, Your Honor.
Yeah, Mr. Vernham, at this point in the case, this is where I speak and where I'm tell you my decision, and I expect to not be interrupted.
I apologize.
Thank you, sir. All right, so in this case, it's clear to me at least by preponderance of the evidence that there has been harassment going on, that Mr. Vernham has repeatedly over a course of time contacted especially Mrs. Feuding with the express purpose of alarming, harassing, intimidating, and annoying her. And it is manifestly obvious that it's had a reasonable effect on her, or it's had an effect on her that is reasonable.
My signs don't quit.
But-
You can give me a restraining order if you want. You do it all. I don't care. I'm going home and I'm doing it democratically, okay? I didn't touch this woman and I never said a word to her.
Mr. Vernham, if
She calls me an old man.
Mr. Vernham, you're out of order here. If you leave the courtroom, that's not going to prevent the effectiveness of this order.
Well, I take medication and like I told her this morning,
Mr. Vernham,
I will
have a seat, just have a seat and wait until I get this order done. We'll make a copy for you and then you can go. We'll make a copy of this order for both parties and then you can both be on your way.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. Mr. Vernham, would you come on up here and take your copy from the clerk, please? Thank you. And then, Mr. Miss Feuding, you can get your copy from the clerk, and you might want to wait a few moments before you head out of the courthouse. Yep. All right, and Judge Meyer will return to hear the remaining matters. These are Mr. Vernham's.
We'll go on the record in the matter 24 CM 127. State of Wisconsin versus Nicholas Butkus Taft. The state appears through District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. Mr. Butkus Taft appears in person in custody with counsel Zachary Fisher. We're set today in this matter for a plea and sentencing. The case was later amended to a felony due to the restitution issue. And now we need to go and have an arraignment before we proceed with the plea and sentencing. Is that correct, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, Your Honor.
Victims' rights compliance? Yes, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Butkus Taft, do you understand what a preliminary hearing is?
Yes, Your Honor.
The burden is on the state to prove a felony was probably committed by you in Burnett County. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that by waiving your right to a preliminary hearing, you agree the state can at least meet that burden?
Yes.
Do you understand at a preliminary hearing, your attorney would be able to ask questions of the state's witnesses, call witnesses to testify for you. He'd be able to produce evidence on your behalf or possibly discover things about the case, which could include defenses. But for today's purposes, you're giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if at the preliminary hearing, the state does not meet its burden to the felony, I could reduce it to a misdemeanor or dismiss it altogether, but you're giving up that right today?
Yes.
Do you understand that at the preliminary hearing, that if the court does find probable cause and bind the matter over, it will proceed to future proceedings and hearings?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that could include a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you also understand that once you waive your right to a preliminary hearing, it's forever and you can't get it back?
Yes.
Has anyone made any threats or any promises to you for you to waive your right to a preliminary hearing?
No.
You're doing so freely and intelligently, telling the court you fully understand what you're doing?
Yes.
I'll find you're confident, you're freely, intelligently, and voluntarily waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. We'll find probable cause and bind the matter over. Information, Mr. Schmidt?
I believe we already filed it before this hearing.
Oh, yes, it is filed. Proceed to a plea and sentencing, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, Your Honor. We do have an agreement in this matter.
All right, please recite the agreement for the record.
Your Honor, Mr. Butkus Taft will plead to count 1, count 2, and count 4, and then count 3 will be dismissed and read in. It would be a DJOC on count 2 for 18 months. And the terms of that agreement are, I've reviewed the terms of the diversion agreement with Mr. Butkus Taft, and I do have a copy of that agreement for the court as well. One of those conditions would be to obviously maintain compliance with probation. And then he would be placed on probation for counts 1 and 4 for 2 years on a withheld sentence. And then the conditions of probation would be to maintain, and these are also conditions of the deferred agreement, or to maintain absolute sobriety, to not possess or use any unauthorized prescriptions unless provided by a medical professional, and then to do an AODA and mental health assessment and follow any recommendations, any other assessments deemed appropriate by probation, and then $11,720.01 in restitution, court costs, fines, and fees, and he has 78 days credit.
78 days credit. Thank you. May I have the documents, please?
Yes, Your Honor. May I approach?
You may. Thank you. Mr. Butkus Taft, that was the agreement that you've reached with the state, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I have in front of me those documents that your attorney referred to.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, I was going to say, I only have the second page of the plea questionnaire. Thank you. So I have both of those documents, the plea questionnaire waiver of rights form, as well as the deferred judgment of conviction. You recognize those documents?
Yes, I do.
And did your attorney thoroughly go over those documents with you?
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
Did he essentially go over them word for word?
Yes.
And so you understand them completely?
Yes, I do.
And is that your signature on the last page of each of those documents?
Yes, it is.
You are 30 years old. You have 12 years of schooling. You can read, write. You understand the English language. That's all correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
No drugs, alcohol, but you have had medications?
Yes, Your Honor.
What medications have you had?
I take Suboxone
All right, and you've taken it as prescribed?
as prescribed.
And that does that interfere with your ability to comprehend or understand things?
No, it does not.
All right. Now, other than that, no drugs, no alcohol, no medications, but you are not receiving treatment for a mental illness or disorder?
Correct, Your Honor.
And did your attorney thoroughly go over with you what the state would have to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt as it relates to all 3 of these crimes?
Yes.
And did your attorney go over with you the maximum possible penalty you face for all 3 of these crimes?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Because you're charged with crimes, you are entitled to constitutional rights, and your constitutional rights are listed on both of these documents on the first page of both of these documents. Did your attorney go over these thoroughly with you?
Yes.
Did you read these?
Yes.
Do you understand them completely?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you need me to go over these rights with you in any more detail?
No.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving these rights completely?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, your pleas could result in your deportation?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand here that there are 2 types of agreements, essentially? The state here is recommending to the court a probationary as well as the deferred judgment of conviction. As it relates to the probationary recommendation, you would be pleading guilty to a criminal trespass to dwelling and a criminal damage to property. The state would have to prove to the trespass that on or around July 2nd, 2024, you intentionally entered the dwelling of victim 1 and victim 2 without their consent, as they were lawfully upon the premises under circumstances you tended to provoke a breach of peace. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
Yes.
Do you understand that upon conviction, you face a fine of up to $10,000 or imprisonment of up to 9 months or both?
Yes.
Do you understand that with regards to?
And Your Honor, just for the record, the probation is on the disorderly conduct for count 4.
Oh.
That is on the deferred
Oh, and
agreement.
they're adding a criminal damage?
No, the criminal damage is for the DJOC agreement. The probation is on the 2 misdemeanors.
All right. Okay. So you put that on the plea questionnaire as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so that with the disorderly conduct, the state would have to prove on or around July 2nd in Burnett County, Wisconsin, while in a private place, you engaged in indecent, boisterous, abusive, violent, or otherwise disorderly conduct, which under the circumstances tended to provoke a disturbance. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
Yes.
Do Do you understand that upon completion or upon conviction, you do face a fine of up to $1,000 or imprisonment of up to 90 days or both?
Yes, Your Honor.
And with regards to the deferred judgment of conviction, that is a felony, which the state did add after fully analyzing the case and the restitution requested. And you would be pleading guilty to that charge, hoping that the court would enter that deferred judgment of conviction. Do you understand that the state would have to prove on or around July 2nd, 2024, you intentionally caused damage to the physical property of another, a French door belonging to victim 1 and victim 2 without that person's consent, whereby the property was reduced in value by more than $2,500. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that upon conviction, you face a fine of up to $10,000 or imprisonment of up to 3.5 years or both?
Yes.
Now, do you understand that there's an agreement here reached with the state where with the 2 misdemeanors that the court, they're recommending the court place you on probation with a withheld sentence with certain conditions, and with the felony that the court accept the deferred judgment of conviction. Do you understand that I'm not bound to follow any agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that means that I could sentence you to the maximum possible penalty for all of these charges. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you still wish to proceed and enter a guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that it's my discretion in sentencing whether I do a withheld sentence or an imposed but stayed sentence? Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
Do you need me to explain anything more about that?
No, Your Honor.
And with regards to conditions of probation, do you understand that it's ultimately my decision in what conditions I place upon you? Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Does that change your mind as to pleading today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, did you go over the criminal complaint with your attorney?
Yes.
And in particular, there is a section called the probable cause section where it basically says what happened and why you were charged with the crimes. Now, for the most part, are those facts accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you admitting here today that your conduct and behavior rose to the level of provoking a disturbance?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you intentionally enter the dwelling of victim 1 and victim 2 without their consent?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it provoked a breach of peace?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty today to the the criminal damage to property because you did cause physical damage to the French door of victim 1 and victim 2 without their consent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you stipulating to restitution in the amount of $11,720.01?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Fisher, may the court use the probable cause section along with the statements made by your client to find a factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone made any threats or any promises to you for you to plead guilty to these charges?
No, Your Honor.
You're doing so freely and intelligently, telling the court you fully understand what you're doing
Yes.
and voluntarily?
Yes.
Has your attorney represented you competently?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he answered all of your questions?
Yes.
Has he looked at this matter thoroughly?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Has he discussed with you after looking at the discovery and the evidence, whether or not he believes you have any defenses or a lack of defenses in the case?
Yes.
Has he discussed with you a potential for going forward with a jury trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
And again, you're satisfied with his services?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for the court?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions for your attorney?
No.
Do you understand that if the court were to enter judgment as to a felony, you would no longer be able to use or possess a firearm for life?
Yes.
No longer able to vote in any election until your civil rights are restored?
Yes.
All right. As to count 1, criminal trespass, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
As to count 2, felony criminal damage to property, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
As to count 4, disorderly conduct, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
The court will find your pleas of guilt are done knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. I will find that you understand your constitutional rights and what it means to waive and give up those rights. I will find a factual basis to accept your pleas of guilt. Based on that, I will find you guilty of those 3 charges. As to counts 1 and counts 4, I will enter judgment at this time. As to count 2, I will hear argument along with sentencing if the court should accept the deferred judgment of conviction. Mr. Schmidt.
The structure of this plea agreement is designed such that the goal is to get the defendant treatment and to also get restitution paid and incentivize him with the possibility of not getting that felony conviction if he does it. Mr. Butkus Taft's history is not that severe. In the past 11 years, he's gotten 2 OWIs, 2 OARs, and then a bail jump in a DC. He has no prior drug convictions, even though drugs were implicated in this offense. Part of what I don't think the criminal complaint demonstrates very well is Butkus Taft had numerous interactions with law enforcement before this incident at the hospital, where he is getting increasingly psychotic. He's saying he's coming down off of drugs. Eventually, law enforcement, noticing the psychosis and the eventual suicidal statements, can't ignore it. They take him to the hospital. The hospital is the first one who suggests we need to call crisis. He maybe needs to be chaptered. Unfortunately, in our county, we have this access phone line where the decision to do a chapter or emergency detention is not with law enforcement. It's with this phone line where they don't personally observe him. They don't see the behaviors firsthand, the subtle nuances of it. And access chose not to chapter him. The police had no basis to arrest him for what he had done. So when they left, he still psychotic, just left the hospital. The victims lived nearby. He broke into their house. Caused an ungodly mess, terrified the residents. One of the victims had to basically take him down himself, and police came there. Because of what he damaged, it was very expensive, hence why the misdemeanor became a felony when we got a quote. When you watch the body cam of him after the police got there, he was still, he didn't even really know where he was. He was rocking back and forth. He was still psychotic or showing symptoms of that. This is a person who really doesn't have a criminal history that would lead one to think this would be something he'd do. And that's a big part of why we're doing the incentive with the felony and giving him a chance to make amends and pay back the restitution for the behavior. And also taking stock of the fact he does have some jail credit now, a not insignificant upfront jail credit time. So there is an upfront punishment. There's the rehabilitative potential with the probation. And there's a potential carrot of him avoiding the felony if he does make good on all of this. So I think with all those things considered, this is the best possible way to protect the community and also give the offender a chance to rehabilitate to kind of the person we think he should be. I think it's very good he's taking Suboxone to deal with his issues, and I think that's already a good sign. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Your Honor, I would ask that you follow the recommendation that the court has in front of it today. I would echo what Attorney Schmidt said in that this was a severe mental health and or both, if not ultimately combined with a drug issue. Ultimately, Mr. Butkus Taft did have several contacts with law enforcement where he was making statements that to an ordinary person would be they weren't very rational statements to be making at the time. And it clearly showed that something was wrong, and that whether it was that he was coming down from methamphetamine use, was still experiencing the symptoms of methamphetamine, or frankly, I don't obviously have the full understanding of what was going through his mind at the time, but it's clear he was not in the right headspace. And when I watched the footage of him essentially after ultimately what happened with the victims being involved, this is not at all to focus on what happened to him, but rather show his state of mind at the time and ultimately why this happened, in that he had severe injuries from breaking through the window. He did bleed severely through a large cut on his leg. And essentially when law enforcement were trying to restrain him in the victim's yard, he was flailing his legs to the point where he was breaking his toes, and he was not really able to even feel that or notice that. And law enforcement had to move him to protect him essentially at that point from himself. And I really do think that it's an unfortunate situation that he wasn't chaptered, and I think that could have led to a different outcome. Ultimately, we're here now for what his actions are, and there's no changing them. There's no going back today. And I think the restitution is the most important thing, obviously, for these victims, not at all taking away from the trauma that they experienced or suffered from this incident. It was a very traumatic event, regardless, no matter what, at the end of the day, to have someone come into your home in the middle of the night without any notice and knowing who they are. And we're very fortunate that no one was killed or no one else was severely injured. And I think that looking at Mr. Buckestaff, lack of severe criminal history, lack of any felony convictions, and the essentially responsibility that he has on this agreement. He has a lot of restitution that he has to make up. He needs to take his mental health and his addiction very seriously throughout these next 18 months and 2 years on probation. And if he doesn't do that, there are severe consequences that he could face, not only from the court, but also from his probation officer. And I would hope that for anyone, but especially Mr. Taft, that the opportunity to not have a felony conviction and to make the victims as whole as they could be by providing restitution, that he could meet the rehabilitative goals that would be before the court, that hopefully would lead him to not ever have to come back, and hopefully have him live a great life going forward and not have to deal with not have to struggle with addiction and mental health as he has been going through recently.
Thank you. If I didn't say it, all other counts and matters are dismissed and granted for purposes of sentencing. Mr. Butkus Taft, anything that you want to say or you want to add?
Yes, Your Honor. I want to say I agree with everything that Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Fisher just said. And to piggyback, I cut my leg, like Mr. Fisher said, through the window, and went to the hospital from the night that this happened. And from there, I did a 30-day inpatient program for my addiction, and I've been clean since. Prior to me being in custody, I was doing an outpatient treatment program, all voluntarily. And besides that, I just wrote a short statement that I'd like to read.
But I'm just going to say, if you read it, please read slowly and enunciate your words, because my court reporter needs to take everything down, okay?
Okay. I wrote that I take the matters of this courtroom and the consequences of my actions seriously, and
Say, read it a little slower.
okay. I take the matters of this courtroom and the consequences of my actions seriously, and will prove so by fulfilling my restitution and completing probation successfully. It will be my top priority to make payments in full, on time, and to meet all probation's requirements. Then in regard to the victims, I don't know the words to express a proper apology. An apology not just for the damage I caused to their home, but more importantly to them. I wish I could take back any anxiety, fear, stress, or frustrations I caused. I wish they would know that I prayed for them, and that if I could take this back, I would. I mean it when I say I am sorry. And I also believe completing my restitution and probation will help prove that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Butkus Taft. That did sound heartfelt.
Thank you.
Are those relatives? Or are they victims?
Those are my parents.
Okay, your parents. I kind of assumed that they were your parents. The gentleman was here the last time.
Nope.
All right. In sentencing, I know that you haven't been in court a lot, and that's a positive thing for you, and that goes on the positive side here. In sentencing, a judge has to look at multiple things. I'm told I have to look at, first and foremost, the nature and the gravity of the offense. How serious is this matter? Then I look at you, I look at the defendant, and I have to look at your character, your past criminal record, any needs for rehabilitation. I look at your age, your education, your remorse, if it's sincere. I have to look at other things then of the community and the need to protect that community and to keep the community safe. I also have other things that I look at. Victims and making them whole and the effect upon the victims from the actions. I also have to look at other things such as deterrence, specific deterrence to specifically deter you from committing other crimes like this or others, and general deterrence, deterring others, generally deterring the public, other people from engaging in criminal conduct, especially something like this. And there are other things that the court looks at as well. This is serious in the fact that it's serious for both you and for the individuals in the house. You broke into a French door, you smashed on through, you could have cut an artery you could have bled out in the matter of minutes. And that would have been even more traumatic for the couple, the victims. Thank God, thank goodness that did not happen. And it's serious because to the individuals having somebody barge through their home, which is supposed, it's your solitude, it's your castle, your place that you can go where you don't have to worry about others and you're supposed to be safe. And then to have somebody barge through and break that, and to have a French door broken, which is not easy to fix. And I'm sure they had to put up tarps, and it takes probably at least maybe a week, probably. They have to get a door that fits and find a person to put it in. And so it's more than just an inconvenience. And Mr. Butkus-Taft, I see you with emotions right now. They're not fake. I can tell when emotions are fake, and I can see that this has had an impact on you. I'm glad. I'm glad to see this, because the individual that is in the black and white words in the criminal complaint from the police report is a hurting individual who has went to illegal substances to self-medicate for an unknown reason. I don't know why. I don't know if you know why, because I can tell that there's something. You can't tell me that that was fun. You can't tell me that the coming down off the substances is fun. And it causes havoc like this. And you seem like a nice young man. I'm going to tell you, when you absconded from my court and you were gone and you didn't turn yourself in, I kind of had a different feeling, like, he's a little juvenile delinquent. You're not a juvenile, but you know, you just have, like, you have this thing on your shoulder, and you think you can do what you want when you want. I don't think that's the case, quite honestly. I think hearing Mr. Fisher today and Mr. Schmidt, and hearing your statement and seeing true emotion in your eyes today, I think you're a good kid. And I think you want to be a good young man. You're not a kid. You're 30. I mean, my goodness. You got a baby face. And I think at the last hearing, you said you have kids yourself. And you wanted to go and you wanted to take care of them and do those kinds of things. You weren't ready then. I'm going to tell you, you weren't ready. And I don't know if you needed to sit in jail for a while. I don't know if you needed your head clear. But seeing you, even though it was on video and I don't get to have an up close and personal, you weren't who you are in front of me today.
May I?
May.
I couldn't agree with you more, Judge. I think I thought I was something that I wasn't. I'd like to say I made quite a few changes over almost the past year, but I wasn't quite the person that I thought I was. And coming in custody, and the first initial appearance in front of you in custody proved that. And the last 78 days gave me a lot of time to think about that, and I couldn't agree with you more.
I see it. I'm telling you, I see it in your eyes. I see it in your expressions and the little ways your eyes are twitching. I pick up on that, and it's real. I have people who are like, oh, it's not real. That's real. Otherwise, I wouldn't have expressed that and brought it out, because it's not like you were trying to force that out. I see changes in you from the last time where you said, please let me out, please let me out, please let me out. You needed this time to get centered, to get focused. Little secret, I don't like to have people in jail. It's not my favorite thing. It doesn't make me feel good to have people in jail or to send people to prison or to do those kinds of things. Your conduct and behavior put you there. I'm truly hoping that your conduct and behavior is going to change. You're going to step up. You're going to gain control of your life for yourself, number one. You can't do it for anybody else. Yourself, number one. And then those children. You, then those children. And then you build more and you move forward. I don't think you're a risk to the community unless you continue to self-medicate, or I don't know. I don't know the ins and the outs, and I don't know your life, and I don't know what you've experienced. I would love for you to go and to try and figure that out and have some self-reflection, even if it's to go have an evaluation, a therapeutic evaluation, and just go for a few sessions to get to the root of it, because something led you to methamphetamine. Something led you to methamphetamine. I'd hate to see you throw your life away. I think that the agreement is appropriate for the most part. As to the felony, I'm going to accept the deferred judgment of conviction. Number one, get your AODA assessment and follow through. It must be to the district attorney within 90 days, or it's going to be, or this will be revoked, okay? That's the second top reason I see the district attorney's office asking me to rescind this agreement and enter judgment against you and sentence you on a felony. Second most high reason. First is paying that $150. So you better pay that $150. It's due within 60 days. Get it paid. That's the number one reason I have the district attorney's office asking me to revoke and terminate these agreements and enter judgment and sentence somebody. So do those immediately. So I'm accepting the deferred judgment of conviction. I think you're going to benefit. As to the other two counts, I will follow the recommendation for 2 years of probation. Well, 18 months. If you're going to be on the deferred judgment of conviction for 18 months, I'm going to do 18 months. They'll both follow and track along. I'm not doing a withheld sentence. I'm doing an imposed yet stayed sentence. You're going to know what you're going to have hanging over your head. You didn't like 78 days. You're surely not going to like what you're getting now. As to count one, 9 months in jail. If you're revoked, you didn't like 78 days, you're not going to like 9 months. So focus on you. Fix you and whatever's going on in there. Resist or criminal damage, we did that. 3 and 4?
I believe count 1 and 4 are the misdemeanors.
Oh, 1 and 4, thank you. And disorderly conduct, that's right. And the disorderly conduct, that is up to 90. I'll just do the 90 days and that can be concurrent. So you just know that the max, it'll be 9 months. You have 78 days of jail credit. Conditions, pay your restitution. That's part of your deferred judgment of conviction. That's going to be part of your probation. They're going to monitor, and that's a big deal. Absolute sobriety. No use or possession of illegal drugs, substances, or paraphernalia. No prescriptions without a valid prescription. Do your AODA and follow through. Provide that to the DA's office. I want you to do an apology letter. I think you halfway did one already. They just didn't get to hear it.
Right.
And so apology letter, and it would go to your attorney, which can go to the state, and they can make sure it goes to the victims. Because do victims care about contact? Do they want no contact?
They want no contact.
So no contact with victims or their residents. So you're going to need to do that apology letter, get it to your attorney, and he'll make sure it gets passed on, okay? They don't have to read it if they don't want to. I'm gonna tell you, I could tell that was from the heart. I'm gonna say the therapeutic evaluation. I don't want to say mental health evaluation, maybe mental health evaluation, because I think they do both, just to see if there's something going on. I don't know. And that's where you can be 100% honest. Nobody else gets to know. So you get to say all of the things, all right?
Okay.
Just you and that person. Well, then you can share and you can have some, you know, internal reflection and know some things. You were working before, so gainful employment or higher education. I don't know if you're looking at doing anything else. $443 in fines and fees for count 1. I'll waive court costs for count 4, but I have to assess the mandatory $200 DNA surcharge. Honestly, court costs and fees, that's the last. I'm not even going to worry about a monthly payment. I want you to pay that restitution. But if you fail to pay the court costs and fees and you fail to pay restitution, not only will a civil judgment be entered against you, but the court will issue a warrant. You could sit up to 6 months in jail. I'm going to tell you, even if you're off probation, you're not off of Judge Mogen's court. I still call you in and I still make sure you pay. And I can still hold jail over you. That's not a threat. It's just, it's about making the victims whole. And it sounds like you want to do that.
I do.
French doors are expensive. They're expensive. I need your DNA. The jail will make sure that we have it. You can request it be expunged through a written letter to the Department of Justice, not to this court, to the Department of Justice. Again, 78 days jail credit. I think that covers everything, Mr. Schmidt.
Nothing from me.
Mr. Fisher.
Nothing further.
Good luck, Mr. Butkus-Taft.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It was a pleasure. We will go on the record in the matter 25 CF 69, State of Wisconsin versus Dale Kitchen Master Jr. The state appears through Special Prosecutor Brian Wright. We also have this, we have Defense Counsel Daniel Chapman appearing in person. We have Mr. Kitchen Master appearing in person in custody. We're set today in this matter for a preliminary hearing. This matter is proceeding as such, Mr. Chapman.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may call your first witness, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Deputy Bailey Mangan.
Deputy Mangan, please come forward, raise your right hand, be sworn in, and have a seat at the witness stand.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give today in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Maybe.
Deputy Mangan, will you please state your full name and spell your last name?
Yes, my first name is Bailey. My last name is Mangan, spelled Mangen.
Deputy Mangan, how long have you worked as a deputy for the Burnett County Sheriff's Office?
For the sheriff's office since December of 2020.
Were you on duty on Friday, April 25, 2025 at approximately 6:15 p.m.?
Yes, I was.
What duty assignment were you performing on that date and time?
I was on a routine patrol shift in Burnett County.
And what is the location that you were patrolling?
At that time, I was in Swiss Township at the Danbury Casino.
And is the Danbury Casino located in Burnett County?
Yes, within Swiss Township.
Did something draw your attention while you were at the casino?
Yes, I located or recognized a male subject inside the casino from previous contexts. I recognize that male as Dale Kitchen Master.
And how is it that you recognized Mr. Kitchen Master?
Previous contacts.
Do you see Mr. Kitchen Master in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
What is he wearing? And will you describe the table that he is seated at?
Yes. Mr. Kitchen Master is seated next to Attorney Chapman wearing an orange t-shirt.
Let the record reflect that Deputy Mangan has identified Mr. Kitchen Master.
Was there anything of interest that you were aware of when you saw Mr. Kitchen Master?
Yes, I was aware of a previous active arrest warrant out of the Department of Corrections.
Did you determine whether or not that warrant was active when you saw Mr. Kitchen Master at the casino?
Yes, eventually I determined that the warrant was active.
And how did you do that?
It was eventually confirmed through our dispatch through the teletype system, I guess.
Okay. And so when you saw Mr. Kitchen Master, what did you do?
I made contact with Mr. Kitchen Master. He was seated at a gaming machine within the gaming floor. I spoke to him. I informed him that he had a warrant out of probation.
And did you take him into custody immediately?
Not immediately, no.
Okay. What did you do?
Again, I spoke to Mr. Kitchen Master. There was another male subject that was with him or near him at that time. I eventually walked with Mr. Kitchen Master over to the cashier area, and then eventually walked with him towards the front door of the casino.
And what occurred as you approached the front door?
While we were walking towards the front door, Mr. Kitchen Master was just in front of me. He took out his cell phone and was attempting to make a phone call as we were walking towards the front door.
Did you say anything to him at that point?
I don't recall if I said anything specific to him at that point.
Okay. And what did you do when you saw him remove the phone from his pocket?
Again, I continued to just walk behind him. We were walking towards the front door.
Okay. And what happened when you got to the front door?
Just before the front door, Mr. Kitchen Master told me to get away from him, and then stated that he was going to he said he was going to knock me out.
And how far away were you from him when he said that he was going to knock you out?
Just within I wouldn't say a couple feet, but a couple of yards.
What was his demeanor when he said that to you?
During my entire contact until after Mr. Kitchen Master was taken into custody, he was argumentative and confrontational.
Did you take that as a serious threat to do you harm?
Yes.
Why?
Just due to Mr. Kitchen Master's elevated and aggressive state. I've had numerous other contacts with Mr. Kitchen Master that didn't go like that one. Just again, based off his elevated and aggressive nature during my contact with him.
Did you consent to him threatening to knock you out?
I did not.
After he said that he would knock you out, was he taken into custody?
He was, yes.
And how was he taken into custody?
There was a struggle that ensued. He began to pull away from me after I told him to put his hands behind his back. There was a security guard for the casino that was nearby the front door. During the struggle, I took Mr. Kitchen Master to the ground in order to get him into custody. At that point, or someplace right in that time frame, the security guard from the casino assisted in attempting to take Mr. Kitchen Master into custody while he was on the ground.
And what attire were you wearing at the time?
A uniform just like this one.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have for Deputy Mangan.
Thank you. Questions, Mr. Chapman?
Am I to assume that he had not been taken into custody prior to when you described, you told him to put his hands behind his back?
I guess if you're asking if he was in handcuffs, he was not in handcuffs at that point.
So you told him he had a warrant, and then you walked with him to the cashier and you were walking with him to the front door, but
yes,
he hadn't been put in handcuffs?
He had not.
And he took out his cell phone and started making a call?
Yes.
At this point, you said he was argumentative and confrontational, but so far this doesn't sound like an argumentative and conversational interaction, at least comparatively from what I've heard of other arrests. Was he fine up until this point?
I guess it depends on what you would say was fine. Throughout my entire contact, again, until Mr. Kitchen Master was secured in the back of my squad, I believe it was when we were leaving the casino, that's when he calmed down. But initially, my first contact with Mr. Kitchen Master at the gaming machine, he was argumentative. He didn't believe he had a warrant. I guess in a general sense, just didn't agree with the fact that he had a warrant.
Why wasn't he in handcuffs at that point then?
I guess I wanted to give Mr. Kitchen Master the benefit of the doubt. We're in a public spot. I guess it's normal sometimes for people not to agree or not to want to cooperate with law enforcement. So I was hoping that if I gave him the benefit of the doubt and not handcuffed him in front of everybody in the casino, that maybe I would receive a little bit more cooperation, I guess.
When he said this, get away from me and I'll knock you out, did he turn around and look at you?
I don't recall him turning all the way around. He was obviously interacting with me to some point. We were just mere, I think I testified, yards or feet away from each other at that point.
He was also on the phone, correct?
He was holding the phone up towards his ear, yes.
And you don't know who he was talking to or what the context of that phone call was?
I did not know if he was talking to anybody or who or what he was talking about, no.
Were you wearing a body camera at this time?
Yes.
Have you reviewed your body camera footage recently?
Not recently, no.
Do you still have the body camera footage preserved on some sort of system?
I would assume so.
Did you or anyone else from your department make any attempt to recover the security camera footage from the casino?
I did not.
Has anyone?
I'm not aware of anybody else doing that.
No further questions.
Any redirect, Mr. Wright?
No, Your Honor,
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional witnesses?
not today.
Mr. Chapman, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Any need for argument? Mr.
No,
Chapman?
Your Honor.
Based upon the testimony of Deputy Mangan, the court does find that there is probable cause to believe a felony was probably committed, and it was probably committed by the defendant, Mr. Kitchenmaster. Court will find the probable cause and bind the matter over. Information, Mr. Wright. Oh, you are paper, so you cannot do an information right now, but that's okay.
Yes, yes, Your Honor. What time frame would the court like me to have that filed?
You can, well, it's within 20 days, so whenever you want.
I'll have it filed by end of business tomorrow.
That sounds great. Mr. Chapman, when would you like to have an arraignment? I could do,
Looks like I'm in front of you June 9th.
well,
Then there's a big gap.
I made a nice little deal with Mr. Wright that I would keep him on Monday mornings, I believe.
Okay, that's a Monday morning,
So when are you here?
June 9th,
June 9th,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. We'll do June 9th at 9. Videos approved, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned.